Okay, so thanks again to those who've just joined us. Welcome to our Business, Computing and Creative Industries live panel discussion. My name's Chelsea and this is my colleague Amelia. We'll be hosting the event this evening and we're from the Marketing and Events team. We're going to hear from the assistant principal, director of the department and head of department for each of our different areas this evening to talk about the amazing facilities that we have and how teaching's adapted during the pandemic, and also what future careers are possible by studying with us. So I'd like to introduce to our Assistant Principal, Carol Whitworth, who'll give you a brief introduction to the department.
Hello, my name's Carol Whitworth and I'm Assistant Principal for Business, Computing and Creative Digital Industries at the Manchester College. So that department comprises of business courses that span from like HR to law, finance, accounting, all that kind of thing. We do computing, which goes all the way from software development to network service engineers. And we also do digital media, which is anything like interactive media, like animation, 3D games, and TV and film. We work really closely with a wealth of employers to make all of our curriculum courses ready so that you've got real life work experience in that course, and that the course is relevant to up-to-date industry standards, so that when you leave us, if you decided not to go on to university, you would have the skills to enable you to go straight into a job after level 3. So I'll just pass over now to the director of the department, which is Andrea Elson.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. As Carol said, I'm the director of curriculum for the department, so I help oversee all of the curriculum and the career pathways, if you like, from 16 to 18 all the way through up to our HE provision at level 6, and I help Carol manage all of that as well. So I'll pass you over to Matt.
Hi everybody, I'm Matt. I'm the head of department for business. It's my responsibility to make sure that you have the best day-to-day experience whilst you're at the college. And it's also my responsibility to make sure that we provide you with the best opportunities with regards to work placements and employer set projects. So welcome to tonight's event.
Thanks everybody. And so I'll dive straight in then. Our first question is about the facilities at the college. So Andrea, are you able to tell me a bit about the facilities that we've got?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, we do have quite a lot of high spec machines and software available for the students, especially for the computer and media course, because they're predominantly the ones I'm talking about tonight. We've recently invested in a lot of the games machines at our Openshaw campus, which are coming with us to the Nichols campus, because we're going to be based at Nichols next year for that provision. And also the Cisco labs as well. We've got quite a lot of Cisco labs, which are all really new. So they're all high end, they're all state of the art. And, you know, we liaise with our employers as well to make sure that we're getting the right equipment with the right software. So we're teaching the right skills for when they move on from us after that. What about the business ones, Matt?
Yeah, from a business perspective, it's more about location. And a lot of our business provision is going to be located centrally at Sheena Simon campus in Manchester City Centre. So it's more about having access to those, not just on-site facilities, but it's having those employers in the city centre nearby that will stand you in good stead. The facilities on site, as Andrea has said, are excellent. You'll have access to the computer suites, business meeting rooms. We'll even have access to theatres for employer events. So it is a good setup for you. And of course, you'll have the wraparound support with our student experience team and achievement tutors being on site.
And for those of you that are not aware as yet, September 22, the computing and media curriculum will be moving to a brand new state-of-the-art building that's located just across the road from the arena in Manchester, which is just round the corner from the Sheena Simon campus, which is where the business courses will be based. So once we move into our new building, pretty much everything in there is going to be brand spanking new, and we've even got like an employer hub that we're having put into there as well. So that will improve over all of our employer links with our courses, because we'll be able to use that employer hub within the curriculum area to work with employers a lot more closely.
And I mean, you've all mentioned a bit about like employer links as well. So I feel like I should just ask you a question a bit about that, if that's okay. So you know, what sort of employers do you work with, and can students expect to work with on the courses? I mean, I know obviously we've got great facilities ourselves, but then it's that, you know, the students will get to work with these employers, and then also, you know, they'll also use their facilities as well. So what sort of employers should students expect?
But before Andrea and Matthew just answer that question, can I just outline the differences for those of you that have been on our website? You might go on and think, oh, what's all this about? Because there's two different kinds of courses you can enrol on. One of them is with our Centres of Excellence, and the other one is with the Industry Excellence Academy. All of our Industry Excellence Academy courses are directly linked to a single employer in digital and business and computing area. So if you enrol in one of those courses, it's a specific employer that is linked to your course that you will have a lot of day-to-day workings with. If you enrol on the Centre of Excellence one, they're the ones that will have several employers that are all input onto those courses where you'll do your placements and such. So that's what the two different types of centres you can enrol into are about. And if you want to know more about that, there is one of these panel events on Thursday night at 7 o'clock that you can log on to learn more about those. But directly with our employers, I'll leave that to Andrea and Matthew to talk to you about.
I'll go first. Yeah, we've got loads now. And certainly, like Carol was saying, the sponsor program ones from the Industry Excellence Academy, we work closely with Silverchip, which has been with them a couple of years now, haven't we? But with Silverchip, we have Creative Cow, who we also work with, which is animation but more a digital print company. Flow Creative, which is an animation design company, and Flow do a lot of I'd say like campaigns and stuff that they do animations for, but because they sponsor the course as well, they do have heavy input in the designing, the creating, they offer placements, so a lot of the work that they do is live brief type work. We've also recently, in this academic year, got the games production company with our games courses, and we do a lot with pie analysis as well, don't we? That's at Sheena, isn't it, Matt, with the TV and film ones? And I think it's also worth mentioning, because I don't know if we're going to say it later on, I can't remember now, but the Ideas Foundation that we do a lot of work with in the mentoring program, who also recently won an award, it was the MPA Awards, wasn't it, Carol? Yeah, they've just won an award for as well. So there's a lot of involvement from the employers. When we say they get involved, they really, really do. Do you want to talk about business on that?
So Flow Creative also won an MPA award as well.
Yeah. And he's the director of Flow, is an ex-alumni, isn't he? He actually did the top up with our UCM Manchester. So we've got quite a close-knit family.
And it's interesting just to add that the pie analysis courses that we offer are really, really relevant in the current climate. One of them, they're both brand new this academic year. So for the next academic year, it'll be the second year they've been running. We do content creation for business marketing, but a content creation for actual social media channels. So it's teaching you how to create content for social media for those of you that are the future YouTubers, etc. out there that want to work in that kind of arena. So they're two really new courses that are really up there and relevant.
I think with the courses now, you know, that we've got them, you know, in partnership with these employers, and it's kind of it's very relevant stuff. So like you said, you know, about content creation, social media, you know, a couple of years ago, these courses wouldn't have been you know, as much as a bigger deal than what it is now. But I think businesses are adapting, and businesses are finding out that, you know, the way to reach people is through social media. You know, it wasn't maybe, you know, 6 years ago or something, but now it really is, and it's such a powerful platform. And these businesses need, you know, fresh young people to come in with their fresh ideas, who are, you know, that they know how to use these platforms. But then it's kind of bringing them in and kind of, you know, I'll have to think of it in a more business way. And, you know, yeah, you might be able to make some, you know, really great content, but thinking about it in a different way that can promote a business.
Well, they're helping us adapt our curriculum, really. So like the new esports program we've got, isn't it, Matt? That's starting in September.
Definitely, that's an exciting time, because that's a brand new industry that, you know, there's never been a course like that designed before. And it's not just looking at games, it's looking at the entire industry from a business point of view, and how to promote it, how to manage it. So it's a really exciting up and coming market to tap into.
And so with esports, so what is that? Is that like online gaming? And in a nutshell, I don't want to.
Yeah, in a nutshell,
it's more.
It is online gaming and it's online competitions, but there's a lot of there's a large industry that sits behind it, and of course it is competitive, and they come at it from a health and fitness point of view as well as an online business platform. So there's a lot of avenues to investigate, which is why it's kind of new and exciting, and a lot of people are interested in that at the moment.
And it actually sits within the business curriculum, believe it or not. But we're actually basing it at Nichols with the digital curriculum because there's a lot of crossover. So even though it sits officially in the business curriculum and it's classed as a business course, it's one of those courses that crosses into pretty much all three areas of our department. Because it's got the gaming in it, which is media, but it's also got digital in it, which is computing. But then the business element of the eSport is business. So it's a really exciting course. We're looking forward to running it in September for the first time.
It does sound very exciting. I think this year as well, the past year, I think this sort, esports, gaming, and online competitions, and just kind of the online presence in general, it's kind of exploded tenfold. And it's just due to the current situation, everything is digital, and businesses are looking at ways that they can expand digitally, and they can advertise digitally, and it's the future really, isn't it? And I think this year has just amplified that even more.
One of the things to do with the Ideas Foundation, because Manchester College and the Ideas Foundation have just won an MPA award as a joint collaboration just last week for our boot camp. And what that is pre-COVID, that was a face-to-face mentor program where we have mentors from predominantly was the media industry, but over lockdown we've now got a lot of business mentors on board. So you get a mentor from industry that you have to interview to get these mentors. So the students would interview, they produce a piece of work, the mentors choose which students they want, and you basically have that mentor for the rest of the year. So you'll do your work placement at that mentor's place of work, and then they're your constant one-to-one mentor for the year. We've had some amazing outcomes from some of those mentorships over the years. People going into real jobs with companies like Brown Bag. For those of you that are into media will know what that is. But what has happened to that over lockdown has been quite amazing, because we turned it all online, and at first we were thinking, is this really going to work? But it's been absolutely brilliant, because what it's meant is we've now got mentors from all over the country mentoring students. So it's not just a case of going out finding mentors from Manchester. We've got mentors from all over the country now that are now mentoring our students. And like I said, it's spread over into business. And the plan for next year is for it to go over into computing as well. So then now that it's online, we're going to do some face-to-face when we get back to a normal world, but we will keep a lot of it online as well because it's working so well.
I think it's just, even though things are online, and when we'll just go back to normal, some things work online, and it's nice to have that face-to-face interaction as well. But the fact that this has worked so well online, it's brilliant, because it just means that the possibilities going forward, just because lockdown ends doesn't mean that someone could still have a mentor from London who's working at this big production company. That can still continue, and I think that's been one of the great learnings, I guess, isn't it, from lockdown. That brings me on to the next question, really, about how things have adapted, and teaching specifically, and how it has adapted in the past year to the pandemic. So yeah, I mean, Andrea or Matt, either one of you though.
I'll say that. I think, to be honest, before the pandemic, we were planning and prepared already, because we've always wanted to push for more blended learning. And as you say, we've always felt that some things work well online, some work less well. And one thing that I would say is that we've been able to transform parts of our curriculum, modernize them more as well. So for instance, in business, we were able to easily plan to do preparation for online event management as opposed to traditional event management, which takes a lot of different preparation, but it's equally as effective. So, we've enhanced a lot of our delivery here. And I think going forward, like Carol mentioned, we're going to be taking the best bits and applying that in the future years.
Brilliant. And Andrew, what about your area? How's learning from teaching adapted? And
Well, yeah, to echo what Matt said, to be honest, that yeah, we have had to adapt, and we have had to build in a blended curriculum and be able to flick that to completely online. But I would say that the biggest thing from my point of view from the teachers is the resilience that we've had. You know, we've had to continue to learn. We've had to learn our teaching styles and the things that we were going to do and change them. And what that's meant for our students and learners is that, you know, that we never give up. There's always an alternative. There's always an alternative route, and we've learned more skills by doing that. Therefore, so have the students. And I think what's been really great with the employers is that they've also had to be in the same situation. You know, we've all been in this situation, not just in education, but in our lives. And because all that's changed, we've all had a slightly different attitude of, no, we can do it. The, you know, keep calm, carry on mentality, if you like. And the employers too have also seen that, you know, there are particular software, for instance, you know, that they may say, you know, you need to use that in the past. Actually, there are alternatives now that we can use, and we've adapted. And I mean, look at some of the music videos that were produced over the summer that they did at home on their own mobile phones, using the software on the mobile phones. There's an alternative platform, and it's about using now the ones that worked well, what they work well for, and how do we take that forward to adapt it, and you know, ideally with the curriculum, then also for the employers going forward. So we've just learned a lot. What's
some of the students' feedback been with being online learning as well?
Varied, really, to be fair. You know, so some really take to it, some don't. And I think that's also something we've learned, is that there isn't a one model fits all. And it's about us now taking what we've learned and what's worked well, and then putting that into the blended model in the future, because it doesn't suit everybody, but it does suit some, you know, really, really well. And that's what we've learned from it. Were you going to say something, Carol?
Yeah, I was going to say about the changes as well, in that some of our employers, particularly our sponsored employers, have continued to offer placements virtually. So that's another thing that we've done during the adaptation, is to carry on doing placements, but doing them virtually. And I think as far as do the students like it, I think in some respects our area has perhaps been one of the luckier ones, because being in digital, you know, students go into a digital curriculum because they like digital, so they've quite adapted quite well to being online. And we can see, because we manage business, computing and media, which 2 of the 3 of those are very much digital, we can see the difference between the engagement of my business students compared to media and computing. You know, and we have had to do things differently for the business guys than we did for computing and media. But in the main, I think I've been really impressed at the resilience of all the students and how they've coped with it all. And really proud, really, that they've managed to get this far and do as much as they've done.
Yeah. And what would an average week look like? So let's just say now, obviously, some students are able to come back to campus. I mean, how is that? How does it look? I mean, are they doing some? I mean, you said blended learning earlier, so I presume are they doing some classes online and then coming into college some days? How does it look?
Yeah, I mean, as a college, that we took the decision back after lockdown 1 not to do bubbles, and we're continuing to do the 2-metre social distancing. So we're still doing that with our students up to now, until any further guidance from the government. So the way we're doing it now is what we call split classroom technology. So if you're in a group with, say, 25, 30 students in a class, that might be split into 4 or sometimes 5, depending on the class size, little small tiny groups. So you're only in a classroom with maybe 5 or 6 other people at any one time. We've got the technology set up in the classrooms now, so there's a video there for the tutor, and they can then stream that lesson into the classrooms next door. So you could have 4 classrooms on a corridor all being delivered the same lesson. Now, in some instances, some of those lessons they might be at home and some of the students are in. In other instances, they're all in, but they're in different classrooms. So yeah, it's very much a blended learning / split classroom technology approach at the moment. I mean, I've been at Nichols all week this week, and the increase in attendance from last Monday to now is just getting bigger and bigger as students are really enjoying being back online.
Amazing, bro. So we'll move on to future careers then, and you know what the industry looks like, and what career paths some of our students can follow once they've studied a course with us. So did anyone want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. Yeah. Okay. Where do I begin? Yeah, well, let's say for media, for example, the most obvious with TV and film, you know, you have your directors, you have your grips, you have your cameramen. You've also then got the people that are the editors, for example, who do in the editing suites, and they can range from, you know, you need different skills for that. If it's a live show, you're editing there on the spot, on live, and you have to rehearse. If it's a pre-recorded show, then you're editing for a longer period of time, but it's got to be perfect. You've got script writers, you've got producers, there's all sorts of different avenues. It's not just about being the famous on the camera, you know what I mean? There's, you know, when you see the film credits go up or whatever program it is, there isn't just a couple of people's names that are on the screen at the end, is there? There's hundreds. So there are lots of opportunities there. And in terms of some of the other media courses as well, you know, there's the games development side of things. So you can be a specialist 3D animator, you can be, again, the storyboarding side of that if you're making a game. And they don't just do, it's not playing games, that's not what they learn. They learn the environments, they learn the skills, it's the using of the technology. So if you're playing Fortnite, for example, there's a whole world there that has had to have been built and made and designed and painted, and all of that is done by lots and lots of different people. Your animators, you've got graphic designers, all of these all interlink, if you will, because even with TV film, you could have an animation TV program, you know, and you need to cross over into those worlds. So there's lots of different skills and jobs there available. And then with computing, the main ones I would say are your software developers, which can range from, you know, .NET developer, a React developer, for example, and then we've also got in cybersecurity. You know, you could go from an IT technician, for example, but then you might need a cybersecurity specialist or a penetration tester or ethical hacking, or you know, I always wanted to go down the forensic computing route when I'd done my degree, because I always found that bit really, really interesting, but that's maybe because I watched CSI stuff. But there's all sorts of, you know, it's not just computing media. There's all sorts of different avenues and different roles you can go down.
I think that's it, isn't it? When before students come to college, they might think, oh, I want to go and work in computing, and you know, and all they might know from school maybe is, you know, becoming like an IT technician, but then actually they come and do a course and they realise that the wealth of careers available. Yeah, it's so diverse. There's all sorts of different avenues to go. It's not just data inputting, sat at a computer or working on spreadsheets all day, for example. Exactly.
What would you say to a student that didn't exactly know what they wanted to do yet?
I would say go to the drop-in centre after this, because the tutors, I mean, our tutors are fantastic anyway, but they've also been in industry and they've seen all these different roles, and they can give a really broad view of what it is you want to do. And I think if it was me and I was young Ken, that should be lovely, I'd be looking at doing the one of the media courses, and I'd be picking what makes me happy, what is my passion, what do I really like to do. If it's to do with drawing, if it's to do with you know, being behind the scenes, the editing side of things. I'm a spreadsheet girl myself, so I always went down the IT route, but that's what I'd do. I'd pick what I like and then start to follow that path. And you never know where it's going to take you. Just because you start on one route doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up. You could end up tapping into all sorts of different avenues as you go along. So, yeah. What about the business, Matt? Because there's quite a lot of diverse there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. I think also, just to build on what Andrea is saying, a lot of our programs have been designed so well. You get to sample a lot of different types of units and subjects. So to answer Amelia's question, you know, sometimes it can be the case that some people come to us and they're still not sure, but when they come to experience all those different subjects, it gives them that guidance to make more of a decision as to what direction they want to go in. So, for instance, a business is a classic example of that. Sometimes you get some people coming in and they'll say, I want to start my own business, but I don't know how to go about it. In fact, I don't even know what the business is going to be about yet, or what product it is, or what service I'm going to be doing. And it's about learning the different skills to enable somebody to do that. They've just got an early idea. And some of the careers that you might progress into, we've had people that have progressed into social media management, there's HR side of things, customer service. And as we said earlier, there's a lot of event management, which these days is now not traditionally just your bricks and mortar style events. A lot of now is online events. So a lot of our learners are really going into these career pathways, and some of the traditional pathways that we also have got in business, which are areas of specialism, and we tend to branch off into them quite a bit, is things like business law, or being business finance and accounting, and business marketing. And the face of those are changing on a regular basis, because laws for online businesses are different for, say, traditional businesses. And as we've mentioned before, marketing and social media is changing the face of traditional marketing as how we knew it. So there's a lot of new career opportunities, as I say, associated with those paths. So, and esports, we mentioned before, another exciting career opportunity that is new and up and coming.
And I think as well, one thing that sometimes people you wouldn't have ever thought of as, say for example, if you wanted to get into, a career like marketing, for instance, there's so much to it. I mean, you've got marketing, then you've got your event kind of, events tie in with that, and then you've also got, like you said earlier, your social media. It's all kind of crossing over, isn't it? And it's just becoming something that it wasn't years ago. And it's like that with a lot of career paths. I mean, with this again, it's probably falling back onto the whole digital, the rise of digital and how it's impacting businesses and how they deliver the business really. So that brings us to the end of the questions that we had set out. Is there anything that you guys would like to add before we move on to see if we've got any questions from our attendees?
I don't think so. Not from me.
Nothing to add at the moment.
Yeah, just log on to chat with the tutors later on, because they can give you a lot more depth as to what kind of things we offer.
Yeah, we have popped some of the links in the box for everyone there, so you've the different drop-in sessions that are taking place tonight after this session. So we have had a couple of questions to throw out there. So one was specifically about work experience for creative and digital courses. So what kind of work experience for that course can someone expect to go into?
I'll pick that one up. So a lot of the work experience that we've got this year has been virtual, because we've been lucky that with a lot of our employers have wanted to do that and want to take us on. But the placements really vary depending on what specialism they want to go down. So we do have, like we said, we've got Silverchip, who's one of our sponsor program employers, and they're very much coding, software development. They do that kind of thing. So the placement would possibly be a project. It might be a few days or it might be a week, depending on what it is, but it could be a project or something that they're working on at this moment in time that they've got, and then our students go in and help with an element of that. So it might be that, okay, they've got a certain section that they need code writing for, help them write it and figure out a way to do it. So there's a set brief, this is the time frame to do it, go away and do it. So it's that kind of approach, especially when it's face to face. But we've been fortunate enough with the digital courses to be able to do a lot of that virtually, haven't we, Matt?
Yeah, definitely. And it's given people a good wealth of experience, because we also have, especially in digital, a lot of freelancers that do enhance that specialism, that area of specialism. So yeah, the opportunities are still there. It's just like this year in particular, we've managed to switch it to a digital online environment. So it's worked well.
Yeah, it has. Hope that answers the question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've just had another question come in. What do you expect from students on your business course?
We have our high expectations of all students. So what I would say to that is we like to have, of course, dedication for all areas of the programme of study, because when you do come to the Manchester College, it's really important that everybody understands that it is a full bespoke programme for you. So what I mean by that is there is the expectation for you to be 100% attending your core curriculum, your business programme. You may attend other elements of the programme if you need some support with English and maths, but also a lot of the other things that we've talked about, the importance of your work placement and us supporting you in securing that. We will try and give you the opportunity to work independently as much as possible. We won't just leave you to it. We want you to find the placement. We want you to be best equipped for it. But the expectation is very high, but we will make sure that we support you throughout the entire process.
Great. And is there any progression opportunities available for students? So they finish the course with the college, what happens then?
Yeah, because we have USAM Manchester as well. So what we do, and this is part of my role as director, is that, you know, whatever courses we have going from entry 3, level 1, level 2, level 3, there's a pathway route then onto the higher education courses. So we offer level 4, 5 and 6, whether that be software development route, for instance. It could be, we have the security route, which is where we have Cisco, because we're an academy with Cisco as well, so they do those actual courses and you can get accreditation for that at the end of it, at the degree. We also work closely with Palo Alto, and I think Jupiter, that was the other one. So that's with the computing, and then again with media, we've got HN in animation, which leads on to the visual communications top up as well, which you can do animation as a pathway. We have the 3D VFX games course in HE as well. So we try and make sure that, you know, when you're starting with us, you're starting on a journey. It's not just you're signing on a course for a year and that's it. This is a study program with a career path that could be 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years in length, depending on how long you're with us. And we've designed the programs like that, so we all work together. So in our department, we have, you know, Matthew's head of curriculum in sixth form, but we have a head of curriculum for HE, we have a head of quality, we have a head of English and maths, and we all work together to make that package available for the students.
Well, yeah, and I know that you were talking about the levels of qualification there a bit. So if someone's asked here, if you're doing really well and you're at a specific level, can you be bumped up to the next level and keep challenging yourself? How does that work for the students?
Yeah, absolutely. What we do is, especially in the first opening weeks of you arriving at the college, we continually assess absolutely everybody. So just to build on like your experience, and of course you may have had some challenges at school where you may have some gaps in your knowledge. We will look at the overall picture and assess you within the first few weeks, so we can basically see where you're up to with your curriculum knowledge and what you would best need some support with. And the thing to take away from this today really is, regardless of where you feel you're up to, there will be an offer that is available, an entry point for you at the Manchester College. And as Andrea has mentioned, you know, the progression routes can be a long-term plan. It might be 3 years, it might be 5 years, but that's not to say that we can't help you with your end goal.
I think it's also important to just mention at this point as well that we're already planning for next year to put extra sessions on and extra hours within all of the courses to help fill in those gaps that you've now got because of COVID and because you've been working from home and because you've not been able to get into school like you should have been. So we are already planning now to give you that extra time so that we can plug all those gaps that you might have appeared in your academic life now in the last, well, 2 academic years really, isn't it? So yeah.
But I think that's quite reassuring, isn't it, for students really, because they have been, you know, they might be worried, you know, if they have missed out on some, you know, some of their school time, you know, because they've had to do a bit more online learning and less of that you know, face to face, or they might have just missed out because, you know, they need that extra support. So it is quite reassuring to hear that, you know, there will be extra sessions planned in next year if they do need that.
Well, they'll be planned in for all levels, for all courses.
Right, okay, thanks, that's good to know. I don't think we've got any more questions, so oh, I knew as soon as I would say that one would come through. So someone's just asked, what do you enjoy most about working in the college? That's a nice question.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So what I like best, I've worked at the college now nearly 20 years. And what I like most about working at the Manchester College is the diversity of the students. I think we have got one of the most diverse colleges in Manchester. And that for me is the number one reason why I like working with Manchester College.
Matt, what about you, Andrew?
Myself, really, it's the wealth of support that people get while they're here. And I'm not just talking about students there, so I'm talking about staff as well. So I've been here for 15 years and, you know, I do feel incredibly valued and supported. And I think the students can feel that as well when they do arrive. So, you know, I think people wouldn't be at the Manchester College if it wasn't for that bespoke offer that we have for both staff and students.
Yeah, and I think
Andrea, what would you
yeah, from my point of view, I think it's I think one of the things is we listen. Like Matt was saying, I've been here 14 years myself, and I've seen a lot of change in the buildings, in what's on offer, and you know the study program now as a whole, and like Carol said about the students, how we have such diverse students, you learn a lot. Like I say, and the fact that we have listened to what the students need and what we need to get out of the experience. It's really fun. It's a really nice place to be, and the campuses are nice. And you know, we've got an exciting time ahead with a few changes of new campuses as well. So I'm really looking forward to where it's going. But I like it because I just have a good time.
We had a student panel last night, and some of the students were just saying that, you know, what they loved most about the college was. And it's, I guess, you know, when you come to college from school, you have a different relationship with your tutors to what you would with, say, your high school teachers, because you've got, you know, you'll have loads of high school teachers, but then when you come to college, you're kind of working on, you know, you'll probably work with less amount of tutors. You know, you might have your main tutor and, you know, another one, and then maybe your support tutor, but you have a different relationship with them, and you have such a strong like respect for each other, and you know, like you have your tutor's email address, and a lot the general consensus was that they felt very supported because, you know, they knew that they could, you know, get in touch with their tutor, and you know, whether it was, you know about their course, or if it was something that they might have, you know, be a bit more personal, they know that support was there, and that they could actually speak to the tutors on a more like, you know, on a level that was where they were the same. You know, the tutor isn't their boss, or, you know, isn't that kind of authoritarian figure. It's someone who's on their level and equal.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean by fun as well, because you do get on really well. I mean, there's respect there, don't get me wrong, and you know, if you need to discipline, you discipline, but there is this respect element there, and there's a lot of reward from it. I mean, like you say, we've been here a long time, and I know both myself, Carol and Matthew, we all have student alumni that actually do still keep in touch with us, and we've seen them grow up. They're now, you know, adults, and it's great to see where they've gone to, what they're doing. One of the other employers, which we didn't mention earlier, but the Lloyd's banking one, he's one of my students who was in one of my first classes, but he's the employer link, you know, for that course, and it's just, it makes you feel really proud. Really
Full
proud.
circle moment.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, I will close the event. So thank you very much, obviously, everyone, for attending and for the questions. And thank you very much to all, you know, of our hosts tonight. So Carol, Andrea, and Matthew. Really appreciate it. As we've mentioned throughout the event, we do have we do have further discussions on this week, and we do also have some one-to-one sessions after this event. They're 15-minute drop-in sessions with our tutors, and they're starting at 6 o'clock while 7. And you can use them to find out a bit more information about our courses, talking a bit more, you know, more detail, you know, ask it if you've got any more questions, you can ask, and they'll give you, you know, longer answers. Or, you know, we could chat all night if we wanted to, but unfortunately we are on a time limit. But yeah, so if you would like to apply for the college, you know, head to our website. And if you'd want to speak to someone about applying, or if you want any more information, we do have a team available until 8 this evening, and all this information, it's in the chat box. So thanks again once from us, and we hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.